Hello! So, yes, it has been a little while, hasn't it? I'm trying to do this video in one take. I've just had a bit of a false start, so this first bit might sound a bit rehearsed. So I want to cover three things in this video. I know it's been 2 years since my last update, so I wanted first of all to cover why is it that I've decided to make this update video. The second thing will be what's happening with the French videos, and the third thing will be like a sort of social media discussion in general. I don't know how long the video is going to be. Hopefully it will not be too long. So the first thing about, well, why am I making this video now? The number one thing is that I just feel inspired to do it now. I feel like I want to do it now. Also in the last couple years, I've started to have a bit of a change of mindset, I suppose. I've had some therapy in the last 2 years, which I think now has like less stigma. I think it's like cool because it's completely, I wouldn't say has it completely changed my life? I don't know, but I really see so much that I didn't see before. So in the first year after posting my update, and since then, I receive still quite a lot of comments of people saying like, what are you up to? How are you? I hope you're all right. Are you ever going to come back? Then there's other comments like, you had such a big impact on people's lives. We really miss you. And I think initially when I was receiving these comments, I was confused. I knew that they were well-meaning, but I thought, oh, they're sort of over-exaggerating a bit, aren't they? Like, oh, I had such a big influence. Are you sure? I just made some French videos. But I'm trying to focus it in a more softer way now. I'm trying to understand that, you know, actually I consume a lot of YouTube and I follow a lot of YouTubers, and I do actually sort of care about how they are. And there are people on YouTube that I've followed for years, and like I've watched their kids grow up on YouTube, and it's true that I will probably always have this little curiosity about, well, I wonder how they're going to turn out. I wonder what they're going to be doing in 10 years' time. And so, like, is it so impossible that some people might have felt that way about me? I mean, I'm not trying to say that I'm a big YouTuber, but I think, you know, maybe this is part of my problem, is that I find it very hard to understand that people would be interested in me. And I feel like, yeah, I think that's one of my sort of weakness is not the right word, but that's one of the sort of negative cognitions that I need to improve is, you know, I have this idea in my head of like, well, you know, nobody cares about me really, or I'm not really interesting, or and then there's like on top of that like some sort of fear that if somebody would say like, oh, I am interested in you, and then I would go, oh, you're interested in me, and then they would say, oh no, it's just a joke. Like, how foolish are you for believing that people would be interested in you? So that's like one of my negative cognitions, is like this fear of, I don't know if it's rejection, but it's like surely no one's interested in me, and if I started acting like people were interested in me, that would be like sort of embarrassing or shameful or something. And if you think about YouTube is pretty much like, here, let me film a video on my own of me talking and then upload it because I'm so interesting and you all want to watch it. So YouTube is quite like triggering for me, I suppose. So why now? Well, it's because I've started to see this sort of softer view that actually, you know, maybe there are genuinely nice people out there who sort of followed me and are interested in me, and do I want to give those people an update and sort of share with them what I'm up to? Like, yeah, maybe not everybody is mean. Like, I don't know. So I just feel like saying hello to those people. Okay, next topic, French videos. So French is not going away in my life. I'm still with Max, and we still have the plan that, you know, one day we will have a child and the child will speak French and English, and when that time comes I will need to know French. So it's not going away, but it's like the sort of demon in the back of the wardrobe that's sort of peeking over your shoulder like, one day you're gonna have to learn it. But I think that what I've understood is like a sort of accepting that French isn't my passion, and that actually when I do sort of, the way that I want to learn it is a less perfect approach. And again, I don't know whether that links into some like mental health type stuff, but I think, you know, you have to weigh up your priorities and how you want to spend your time. And I think that when I come to start really focusing on French again, it will be focusing on, well, what is the most important thing? You know, do you need to be able to write an essay? No. Do you need to be able to use all of the tenses perfectly? No. Like, what do you want to do? Okay, you want to follow conversation, okay? And you want to be able to read a simple children's book, okay? And I think, and then you want to be able to sort of, if you visit France, kind of ask for emergency stuff, right? And I think that keeping that focus will be something that will really help me. And I think that, you know, there are things that I really don't like about language learning, like grammar. I find really boring, really. And I think that part of what I'm learning to do is like listen a bit more to myself, that if when I'm reading this grammar thing, I'm thinking like, oh, this is really boring, I can't focus, I should be thinking, maybe you don't want to do this and you should stop. And I think a lot of my French learning was out of fear. You know, it was really out of fear of, oh, I'm going to be alone in Paris walking around and I'm going to need help and someone won't be able to help me, you know. And then I think, again, there's this sort of fear of making a fuss or fear of having attention. Is like, oh, if I speak to someone and I don't know French and I have to speak to a French person in English, oh, they're going to think I'm so rude, oh, that's going to be so annoying for them, it's going to be so embarrassing for me. You know, all the things that were driving me to learn French were not positive things like, oh, I get so much sense of achievement, or I really enjoy being able to talk to more people, or I find the culture really interesting. And none of it was driven by that. It was all like, oh my God, what if I'm lost? Or, oh my God, what if I'm in a supermarket and everybody thinks I'm so rude because I can't speak French? You know, so I think when I come to do it again, there's going to be less focus on being perfect and a bit more like listening to myself in terms of like, you know, like not forcing myself to do things I don't really like, right? Then I think it's interesting because a lot of my channel was about like, oh, here I am speaking French, there's going to be loads of mistakes in this, and aren't I so brave for putting all my mistakes on the internet? But actually, I struggled to speak with people, like on YouTube it was fine, like trying to speak French on YouTube was okay, because there was this whole like, I don't know if caveat's the right word, but there was this whole thing along with it with like, oh, well, the video is supposed to be a French learner, so it's deliberate that there are mistakes. You know, there was a lot of this like defense in it for, oh, well, you know, it's good that there are mistakes because then people can engage and correct me. Oh, I'm just hearing some noises and I'm embarrassed about making a YouTube video. Okay, well, is Max coming? Okay, well, I'm just going to keep speaking and try not to be embarrassed. Why is it embarrassing to make a YouTube video? I don't know. I need to address these things within myself. So yeah, it's interesting when you look at my channel, it's like, oh, but you know, you were all about like making mistakes and how it was fine to make mistakes and it was part of learning. But actually, I think that was why I was making the videos, is I was trying to show myself that it's okay, but I think I was going about it the wrong way. I think, again, it was like some sort of fear of, you know, well, if I'm speaking and I make mistakes, like what will people think of me? They'll think I'm stupid, or they'll think that it's always embarrassing to make mistakes, or you might say something accidentally rude, or someone won't understand you, and oh, isn't that so embarrassing? Like I'm laughing at these things because it's not really logical, but that's how I feel. So I'm working on it, you know, I'm working on it. What was I gonna say? What's the next thing? Social media. Have I finished talking about French? Okay, so in terms of French videos, I want to make a video of like trying to remember Babbel vocabulary. You know, I did this like, do I remember Babbel vocabulary after 2 years? I'd like to do it now. I don't know if it's been 4 years in total or 5 years, but I think it would be really interesting to see if I still remember this vocabulary. So I'm really hoping to make a video shortly of that, and I even bought a new camera battery. So and And now it's so interesting the way like your mind works. So I'm looking and it says nearly 10 minutes, and inside me it's like, oh, nobody wants to watch you for 10 minutes. You know, I really need to, but I was so not aware of all of these background thoughts before. And now I'm aware of them. I'm thinking, is that how I want to continue living, where I feel like, oh, I'm taking up people's time. I should be like a tiny quiet thing in the corner that doesn't bother anybody. Like, it's interesting. So, so making the French videos, I would like to make this Babbel video. And I know that people find that kind of thing useful, and I would find it interesting to see what I remember. But I struggle a lot to make, even though I have ideas for other French videos I could do, like for instance, I thought about doing a Christmas related one. Because I don't know French, oh, let me just light my thing up again. Oh, okay. Sorry. So because I don't know French, it's hard for me to make videos teaching French. And then what would happen is I would be like very reliant on Max to check like vocabulary or something that I'd written, or to help me with the subtitles. And YouTube is not his passion, and it's not really, I don't want to be reliant on him to sort of support me with this, because it always feels like, oh, can you just check this for 5 minutes, blah blah blah, and it never is 5 minutes, and it always like takes a lot of time, and sometimes we argue about it, because then I start, my thing in the past at least was like, oh, I need to upload this video. If I don't upload it, people are gonna unsubscribe, and I need to upload it now. And then he would be wanting to teach me why my mistakes had happened, and like say tell me something about grammar, and I would be thinking like, I don't care about grammar. Or then maybe he would ask me a question like, oh, why do you think there is a mistake here? And then I would get it wrong, and then I would think like, oh, I feel so stupid because I don't know the mistake, or something like that. So it's hard for me to make videos teaching French. Social media. So the other thing that I want to be careful of is the motivations for posting on social media. Now, if you're doing social media as a job, as your income, maybe it's like your company, or maybe you're an influencer, the motivation for posting videos is like getting more followers, getting likes, getting engagement, and you're doing that because that's how you make money. If you're on YouTube because you have a passion, or you want to promote like a worldview or something, I don't know, then again it's like this trying to have a lot of engagement, and I'm not doing that. I'm not trying to sell a product. I'm not trying to like convert you to, I don't know, whatever I've tried to convert you to. I'm not trying to persuade people of a view, And so there's a big question for me about, if I do start posting more videos, well, number one, like what would I post them about? That's the biggest thing. Number two is like, I need to be sure that I'm doing it for positive reasons, because everybody, maybe that's too general, but most people, if they post a video on YouTube, you don't want to be like, oh, only 2 people viewed it. Like there is this kind of seeking of some sort of approval of the video was interesting, or people liked the video, or it had a lot of views, or something like that. And I want to kind of avoid kind of falling into this like toxic kind of thing where seeking approval from others. So it's not to say that I couldn't upload videos, but it's like I just need to feel comfortable in myself that I'm doing it for good reasons, and I'm not doing it because I'm like trying to make myself feel better or something. And again, it seems linked to this stupid idea I have that, if I'm posting videos, it's like, ooh, look at me, aren't I so interesting? And isn't that, people are watching, like, nobody cares, like, you think you're so great and you're not, and that's so embarrassing. That's my thing. Why is it so embarrassing? I don't know. So the thing with social media is I just want to be sure that if I start making videos again, that it's for a reason that I'm comfortable with and that has a positive impact on my life. So do let me know if there's some sort of video that you think would be interesting that I could make. In terms of like my sort of personal passions or whatever, I've been focusing a lot of my energy on a creative project, collecting, well, how do I explain that? So when I was a child, I created something called a paracosm, which is like a imaginary world where you make up stuff like the culture of the world and the countries and the people and the politics and the history, etc. And I started that when I was a child, and I've kind of kept adding to it in my mind. And so I'm bringing together like all the stories and artwork and stuff into one place for myself and for my family. But maybe one day I would publish it, I don't know. So I'm just a bit unsure about sharing stuff about that online, because I'm just afraid if I did want to publish it someday, there'd be like some problem with copyright or something. So that's what I'm kind of doing in my spare time. I do apologise, this video has been a bit choppy. I did have some problems with my camera, and I know it's always so funny when people on YouTube talk about their camera, because most of the time like the viewer doesn't even notice, you know, like the YouTuber's like, I'm so sorry, my white balance was off, and we're all just like, we didn't notice. So that's funny that I'm doing that. So yeah, okay, see you soon, or see you in another 2 years. Okay, bye bye.